The day before my birthday, end of May, I got a call from my mom saying, your dad's got stage 4 cancer. And 5 days later, my dad passed. I reacted out of anger to most things. I really wish I wasn't so angry.
You'll go through stages, and maybe one of the stages will be being angry.
Did you feel like you had a lot of support afterwards, or was it just during the period?
I feel like during the period, and it's easy to forget that, you know what I mean? Stop checking up on me.
What do you miss most about your dad?
I think it's his presence. He's not around to see achievements. Like, he always said to me, I'd love to see you start a business in London.
A lot of people who come across people who are recently bereaved actually don't know what to say. They're afraid to say the wrong thing.
I have probably zero fears. I think death is the ultimate in life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Grief Uncensored with Elahor. On today's episode, I have my co-host Tawa.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. You looking well?
Weekend, yeah.
I know, all black everything. I have my psychotherapist, Rotimi.
Hello again.
How are you?
I'm all good, thank you.
Great stuff. I'm great. And oh my God, I have Callum Curry on set. Callum is crazy and wild. And I haven't seen you in like 3 years.
I know, it's so nice to see you. Thank you so much.
It's birthday.
Oh yeah, true. What a good birthday.
It was a great
Thank you
one.
for that great introduction. I love it.
I know. Gotta hype you. Okay. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. You just came back from Cape Town.
Just came back from Cape Town.
I was in Cape
A
Town.
little bit of a glow.
Where's the tan though, honey?
Underneath the shirt.
Underneath my shirt.
It's hiding.
Okay, cool, Callum. Thank you so much for coming. Yes, I know this is a sensitive topic, but the goal is to heal and just to like share your experiences and how you're dealing with life, you know, and surviving everyday life. So thank you again, Callum. So Callum, tell us a little bit about your heritage, you know, and your background so they know a little bit about you.
Perfect. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa. I have lived in the UK for 11 years. My heritage is a bit of a mix, a little Scottish, a little Spanish, a little Italian, but obviously a lot of South African. Great cocktail.
Yeah.
Probably like a Long Island daiquiri, Long Island. Just everything together. As we say in South Africa, it'd be a pavement special. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So how did you grow up? And I know you lost your dad. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, so tell me also a little bit about how you grew up and how close you were to your dad, and how your dad passed.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the condolences. Yeah, so my dad was kind of very big into our lives. He was very big into investing in myself and my two sisters. He always did see loads of opportunities. He was quite a forward thinker. And he ran one of the biggest retailers in Southern Africa and in Southern Hemisphere. He was one of the top CIOs globally for quite a few years. And I was very lucky with Dad's work. He was able to come over here loads. I always would say, like, compared to my other South African friends who have to fly home every year or every 2 years due to being so expensive to go back to South Africa, I was so lucky that Dad could pop over like for a night, come visit us in London, like catch up, be rejuvenated or refilled, and then we could see him in 3 months' time, 4 months' time. So he was very involved. Growing up as well, we had a very good lifestyle. I think we were kind of privileged.
It's coming to swimming pool. Yeah.
I don't come from a bad side of Cape Town. Yeah, so I think, some can say blessed. I definitely was blessed from him working hard and working so hard. Me, do I work that hard? Probably not, but I'm still taking the blessings. But now I need to start working hard. Now that he's passed, I have to grow up. So my dad in end of 2020, got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And the doctors a month later said to him, he's probably not going to make it, but he could potentially live for a year, but it was quite a junior doctor. And then a senior doctor in South Africa just said, no, that information is false. You'll be fine. It went for a third opinion. He got some Australian opinions, because obviously with cancer and the ozone, South Africa has a hole in the ozone above South Africa. So a lot of people lately are getting cancers, like in Australia, much quicker. And again, I think about diet and stuff like that in South Africa. So they all said he should be fine if he just invests in this medication from Australia. The cancer should deplete in like a year. And then maybe 6 months later, actually the day before my birthday, end of May, I got a call from my mom saying, I was going to call you tomorrow on your birthday, but I don't want to like upset you on your birthday, but your dad's got stage 4 cancer. And then obviously COVID, that was the year of COVID. So he couldn't see anybody, he couldn't be doing stuff. He literally was also working every single day while he had cancer, while COVID was happening. He was one of the few that were allowed to leave their homes in South Africa from a restriction perspective. So he was quite lucky, still kind of have lived his life in 2020. Yeah, and then literally, I'm also a bit of an ostrich. I don't like to deal with negative news or negative stuff. Most of us don't. And my older sister kept on thinking that something was going to get wrong or going wrong. And I was just like, no. And I think pre-dad dying, I was like the most positive person ever. I only could see the positives. And loads of friends said, you need to be realistic sometimes. So then end of November, just before the last flights out of the UK was getting cancelled, I got on the last flight, and 5 days later my dad passed. And the nurses in the stage did not think he would die, did not have experience of, they all were looking after COVID and learned about COVID, so the knowledge on cancer there was no knowledge of these nurses. It was quite sad. And we put him in a private as well to make sure he get better help. So he passed, and I was just saying, experiencing it is super hectic. I think my life has changed. It literally did a 180, flipped on its back. I was saying to my partner on the way here, the last 2 years, I look back and I think, I really wish I wasn't so angry. I reacted out of anger to most things, and even silly things, I would just get angry so much quicker. So that's kind of a bit of experience in what's happened with dad and how my dad passed. Last year.
God. Thank you for sharing. So I'm really curious, because I haven't experienced anyone who has passed with cancer that I know closely. So with your dad, when did he find out, and how long did he have to live?
He found out in December of 2020, and he passed in November of 2021, so 11 months.
11 months. Okay. And he had stage 4.
Stage 4. So after 6 months, he had stage 4, and then died after, with my maths, so he died in month 11. So about 5 months later, he died.
I'm really curious, because I've always wondered with cancer. So when you couldn't tell he had cancer, or he couldn't tell he was healthy?
Super healthy. He was planned to go hike what we call it, Kilimanjaro the following year with his mates. He would do every tour. There was tours cycle tours in Cape Town, and he'd only train him. He wasn't that fit, but he was okay fit. So he'd go and train, and he'd buy the latest bicycle, because he thinks that's how you win the races. We know he came second last. But he was fit, and he was okay, and there was no issue. He never also had issues. No symptoms. And my dad also
I thought with cancer you can.
Oh, that's right. There was symptoms after when he got to stage 4. Stage 4, it started
before stage 4, you don't have symptoms.
You do have some symptoms, but I don't think you have so many hectic symptoms, and that's why lately people are only figuring out in stage 2 or stage 3, and it's getting a little too late. And stage 4 is horrible to say, kind of open, the door's a little bit open to death. Melanoma cancer. So it's from the sun, from being in the sun loads. He used to obviously use loads of sun oil on his skin all the time.
So that's not good.
No, definitely not. But I think also back in the day, our parents didn't use sunscreen. And he lived in South Africa, he lived in Namibia, hot places, and you think, when I go there, my skin burns. Coming from London, and I was and I have to use factor 50 now. So I think, I don't know, it's probably it took a while. You know what I mean? It probably was implemented, and then something triggered with the cancer in our bodies, and
Yeah. Okay. You talked about being angry.
Yeah.
Like, tell me a little. Give me an example. Like, were you angry with your friends, family, and how did that affect relationships?
So two things from the anger and kind of from the friendship side. I lost my best mate of 18 years because she couldn't understand.
Oh, you not lost to death.
Oh, not dead.
okay.
So my friendships.
Friendship.
Sorry.
Okay, yes.
As from the friendship perspective.
Oh, yeah, of course.
She couldn't understand. She was South African too, living here in London. She just couldn't understand why. Like, she invited me 5 times to come to the pub and like wanted to speak to me. I just was like, I don't know. I'm not an old granny, and I prefer now to have tea with somebody and speak, and not even speak. Like, just sit on the couch, have a chat, have a conversation.
Yeah.
And like, even when one of my ex's his mom passed away, I went to his house. I was like, this is what I would have liked. And I lost her as a friend. I lost a friend this year who just said to me, "You've been so angry and negative, and your anger comes out so much more." And I was like, well, if you've never experienced grief, or you've never experienced someone passing away, I now understand. When I saw my friends disappearing for a few years and then reappearing, I was angry in the time for that friend. But then I realized, now that I've experienced grief, I realize they need time. They need time to grieve. They need time to process it. And a process can be 1 month, or someone like me, it took me like maybe 3 years to come out the other end. And I do look back and I think, oh my God, what a wasted 2 years of my life. But that's life experience. That's grief, unfortunately.
100%, yeah.
But I wish I wasn't angry. Like, I look back and I think, oh my God, what a horrible person I was. Or I don't know. But I also need to stop blaming myself.
No,
you know what I mean?
don't do that, because I was like that. Because I wasn't, well, in the beginning stage, I was so angry.
Tell about your
Angry.
experience.
Like, I've lost friends as well, so I can relate. I was extremely angry, and I was telling one of my friend who came on the podcast, I was telling her she wasn't present in my life. I said she dodged the bullet, because if she was in my life, to be honest, I feel like grief will show you people's true colors, but then I might be wrong. So I need a professional to tell me, because I feel like if we are angry, why can you should know what we're going through. It's got nothing to do with you. It's our problem. Sorry. I don't get that part.
I think that's a really good way of putting it. I before you said, no, I never thought of it like that.
I lost my mom. I lost my dad. I'm angry.
Oh, sorry.
Why should I apologize for my behavior?
No.
Now, when I reflect though, I was really angry and I was so rude and disrespectful to my friends. But again, I'm so sorry, because if a friend of mine is going through that now and was doing that to me, I will not be offended, because I know they're not in their right mind at the moment, and they're just reacting from what's happening to them. So I would just continue saying, I know, I understand, I'm sorry, I love you.
100%, yeah.
So for me, I think if a friend is angry, then really, are you really my friend?
No, I definitely think, like, someone said to me once, I went to kind of a person, like a very wise person. I just said, I don't know why this is happening to me. Like, I don't want to be the most popular person anymore. Maybe in my 20s I did. But now I want quality over quantity. And I always wanted quantity. And first of my birthdays, I was like, who else can I invite to make me feel special? And I was like, I don't want that anymore. I want quality. And I wish again, but sorry, someone said to me, maybe your dad's passing, your dad now up in heaven is shifting out those negative people, those people that should not have been in your lane. And you're too kind and too nice to say. And when I've experienced people say, I don't think we should be friends anymore, I'd always be like, I would never blame myself, but I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, be quite a gray area and be like, what's like, now I can see, like, same with the anger thing. Like, I can see why I wouldn't have wanted to be my friend last year and the year before. Like,
no,
but I do understand what you're saying. Like, I look at my friends now and I think there were people that have still stuck around.
Exactly.
And thank goodness. And for them, obviously, it was probably good people.
Exactly.
That have stuck around and
people that just understand, if you don't mind me saying.
True.
The fact of the matter is, when we're thinking about grief, we have to remember that you'll go through stages, and maybe one of the stages will be being angry, whether you're angry about the person you've lost or just angry about the circumstances. That will be there. And if you can be acknowledging that you're in touch with your emotion, that's always a good thing. Agree and don't emit any kind of emotion, and that's damaging.
No, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, we need our friends, colleagues, family to understand that we're an emotion as a response to it. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, potential is always there also as well. But it could be damaging to the other if they don't understand and you don't understand.
Yeah.
Connect to the grid.
100%. And I'd say I've gone back to people who's lost their brothers or sisters or lost their parents. And with me sometimes being selfish in the past, I'd be like, okay, why are they resharing this picture of their sister on the death of anniversary or the death of that? And also today, I still struggle on the day of my dad's death. I always don't want to acknowledge it sometimes. And then I also don't want to speak to my sisters and my mom because I don't want to upset them. And I think I've always tried to always be the happy one for everyone. Even in London, like moving here, loads of South Africans would start getting depression from living here. And it's like, and I'd be like, I have to be always, and I think realize now with life, I realize I don't have to make everyone else happy.
Yeah.
That's a very hard job. I mean, it's a job on its own.
There to do that. I wanted to ask, so what sort of things would kind of trigger you? What would kind of lead to you getting angry?
So I'll give an example. I left my job in 2022, sorry. And I think like rejection, like from jobs, I didn't need to reply to them. I reply like quite a snotty remark or something a little bit like, you've been losing a really good candidate, we really, whatever. And I looked back, I was like, I did not need to reply that to them. They didn't need to London as well, they don't care. They probably, in London, they're hiring loads of people, so my snotty remark just means they're never going to hire me. I think rejection, definitely. I think, again, with losing friends, I was sticking to any cause and calls that weren't good people sometimes, as I was worried about rejection, and that would kind of trigger me in a way. But then another trigger kind of would be like, I still today, when I hear anything about cancer, like I'll get teary. Death, like it really triggers me. But I have learned, like the other day, my friend messaged me and she said, her uncle's just passed away in Germany. And there was like I sent a voice message. I was like, okay, Callum, you can't make a joke. Like delete that voice message, pick up the phone and call her. But pre-death, I would have just sent the voice message, not thought about it, not thought about that phone call.
Yeah.
It's helping her, maybe 1%, maybe 99%. I don't know how much it's helping her. But the phone call, like, would have, for me, when people called me, or in South Africa, people hopped around, or people from London calling me, checking up, I was okay. I was like, okay, that's really nice. I've learned a lot during this 3-year period of grief. So that answers your question.
Yeah. And after your dad's passing, did you feel like you had a lot of support afterwards, or was it just during the period?
I feel like during the period, we were lucky to all go home. So all of his mates, and my mom was still living there. So it was all of his mates. But I will say now that you've asked a question and thinking about it, I do think some of those friends have stopped being my friend now, like stopped, and it's easy to forget that, you know what I mean? Stop checking up on me. Not that I need checking up all the time, but you do with grief.
Yeah, trust me.
And I feel like I will still, like now and then, when I think of someone's name, okay, I might have a theory, think of your name, I'm gonna send you a text and say how you doing. And especially that person that's grieving. And I will say, I feel like lately my friendship groups are people that are experiencing grief. Actually, like most of my friends, it sounds silly, has lost a parent. And the one positive I always say is I've dealt with like that's one parent. And I'm sorry that you've done both, but I have like one foot in the grave over somebody else that doesn't have, and I've experienced the whole like setting up a funeral, putting stuff out there. That also was a bit in the public eye. So trying to also keep some things away from stuff in the South African press, and kind of not put things out there. Like little thing was at the funeral, I kind of went mute. And then I also had people writing saying, like in blogs, the most outgoing guy, and he's on TV and he puts stuff all over social media and he's done every show under the planet, can't speak at his dad's funeral. And I didn't think of anything, but like, when I had time to think and overthink, I was like, that was quite mean, actually. And again, I thought those people, not that I must give them a pat on the back, but they obviously never experienced grief.
Of course.
So if you are going to write a little mean thing about someone's funeral, well, that just shows you who you are. But it was interesting. So I did think, I also kind of had that thought, but I didn't ever publicly put it out there or say anything. So,
Pretty tough. Like,
Can I ask something about, well, all of a sudden becoming mute. What's that connected to, do you think? What's your thinking about that? All right for me to ask?
Yeah. I think maybe not really mute. Maybe I've always been someone that has probably a bit of verbal diarrhea. I speak my mind. I say everything I can. I speak everyone else's mind. I'm everyone's mouthpiece in reality and on TV. So I think maybe the mute's the wrong word, but I've slowly, and I'm still learning, to say less, not say too much. Try speak.
Think before you speak.
Think before I speak. Yeah, not react as well, and not just say everything. And not as again, I think with grief and with life, I'm also too tired to be everyone's spokesperson. So if that answers your question. It's probably why I've kind of stepped back a bit, and I think slowly, and as I'm getting in a good space again, like my extrovertness is coming out, and I can speak, and I am feeling comfortable. But like even 2021, when I got back from South Africa after Dad died, and a bit of 2022, my housemate then, ex-housemate, she said to me, she's like, I found it really bizarre. Somebody who was the life of the party barely wants to leave his bedroom, but she said, I don't understand grief, so maybe this is how you deal with grief. And I think with that kind of made me a little bit of a commute in a way. Like I know I really talked to. I was staying in my room, reading text, reading books, watching probably every series under the sun. Be like, just because I don't want to interact, and I also think I didn't want to speak about what I experienced.
Yeah.
So then I stepped away, or stepped out of like society. If that makes sense.
Which is really important. But the thing for me is, I mean, we're in a previous podcast. I'm talking to a gentleman whose father has died, and he was the oldest son in the family, and you're the only son in the family. With 3 women who've been left behind, and in some ways there is something about you having to take over the role of your father that I think you may or may not be avoiding. Is there any of that for you?
I think there is, but I think maybe it's the oldest thing, because I think my sister stepped up to the role, my older sister, of becoming like the matriarch. Is that the right word? And making sure like we're doing stuff in London, we're seeing each other. She's very family oriented with 3 kids. And then I sometimes think, even with them, so get off the point, I think, oh my God, I'm struggling with grief by myself. And like, these are my sisters here in London. They have children. They have to deal with their children's needs. And even with the grief, like my niece, who's 10 now, she'll loads of times say how she misses my dad. And I think it's so sad and upsetting that a little girl, like 7 years old, her grandfather died, and it still affects her. And I was like, did that affect me when I was 7? No one died, unfortunately. I don't know mentally if I could have coped with stuff like that if I was a 7-year-old. And my nephew too has gone, the mute side has gone he went into a mute side where he was doing everything under the sun here in London. Like he tried to avoid coming for the funeral because obviously it affected him so much. And we only had a conversation this year in Cape Town, and he did say like, it really upsets him that my dad passed, and he didn't want to deal with it. So he took like nearly 2 years to like block it out. And then when he did it hit him quite hard, like a wave. So
yeah.
Oh yeah, so I was question like, so my sister's kind of taking out the role. But I did feel a big, when Dad died, I was like, shit, but now I need to be head of the house. I need to make sure everything's okay. I need to make sure. And I think that's why maybe I don't speak to my sisters and mom too much about it, because I don't know, my dad wouldn't upset us on the way he answers questions. I'm a bit too direct, so I'll probably make people upset. So I don't know, but I think that is the next obstacle I need to overcome, is stop worrying and actually pull the band-aid and say, how you doing? How's it going? Yeah. And I think my way of doing it slowly is sending on my WhatsApp group like pictures of me and my dad or memories that come up. Yeah. I'll send on the group.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I was gonna go back to talk about your friendship, because this is very personal to me, and your anger, because I can totally relate. And I just wanted to say, you know how you mentioned like you were feeling bad? I think with me, you might reflect. So I was so angry. Yeah. I can give one of my friends, not really, well, she was my friend, as an example. She was my friend, but I met her through my friend's friend. So although she knew me, she didn't really know me. Yeah. Well, she knew me, but she didn't know me like that. But I was so mean to her and treated her so poorly that even today we're not friends. However, let's say this happened maybe 5-6 years ago. Last year, I actually wrote to her and I sent her a long message apologizing.
Yeah.
The only reason I did that 5 years, 7, because she even told me years later. Then I said to her, there's something you need to know. I'm forever going to go through depression and episodes of sadness.
Yeah.
And I'm going to find my happiness. You know, I'm sorry, I'm going to cry. Yeah. So, yeah, so I was, yeah, so I was saying to her, right, that I had to get to a happy place. If I don't love, I had to find a way. I always loved myself because my mom did everything for me. My mom was my God, and she's still my God. So my mom gave me so much confidence. And what I'm trying to say is, like, I needed to find my happy self, right? And until, it's just like saying, when you say, if you don't love yourself, how can you give love?
Yeah.
So I won't say I never loved myself, but something was lacking.
Yeah.
And so, because she kept saying to me, well, 5 years later, I was like, because listen, it's taking me this time to be happy, a happy person again, and to actually really reflect and say, oh, you know what? I was angry at you. My friend who is friends with her, who I was mean to as well, was still friends. And now she's lost her mom, although she won't deal with the same. People deal with grief differently.
100%.
Although my friend wouldn't deal with grief the way I did, I don't apologize for the way I dealt with it. I'm so sorry. My apology to her was saying to her, it actually wasn't me. That was grief, not me.
Yeah.
I wasn't present.
100%.
I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest with you, because I had to leave Nigeria and I came back to London. Even my brothers didn't know. I had to come back to London and I started therapy and I was going to the gym a lot. But physically, I wasn't present. So why I say this is to say to you is, years to come, if you reflect on how mean you were to them, you would know that that was not you. And if you feel the need, you might apologize for and just make them understand. Even I kept saying to her, because she kept going back to say, I then said to her, you know what, I'm beginning to sound like a broken record and I don't want to. My message to you, because I am someone who, I don't like leaving a bad taste. I don't want people to think I'm not a bad person.
Yeah,
but I was bad to her.
Yeah.
So I just needed to clear the air and say to her, yes, 5 years later, trust me. And I even said to her, I swear, I always thought I'm more of a face-to-face person. I don't like texting. So I always thought I was actually going to bump into her, to be honest, because I've actually healed a bit. But I was waiting to bump and I thought, this is not happening. Let me just message her.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure she did. She acknowledged it, and I just said, I'm not asking for us to be friends again. Yeah. I just wanted you to know that, trust me, I'm still struggling. Yeah. And even up to last year, I've lost 2 friends because of grief. These are my close friends. So honestly, I tell you, for me, grief changes you. You lose friends, you lose relationships.
Yeah.
You make new ones.
100%.
And to be honest, you start having I don't have expectations anymore. And I think that's the best way for me to live life, really. No. So now when I don't have expectations from nobody but myself. Yeah. So when people don't do things I want them to do, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't have expectations, so it's okay. So
I think sometimes I expect people to actually do the worst, and when people actually do average or better, exactly. People do it much better. But it's like, oh, they actually are nice people. They are tough people. Yeah. But I just expect everybody to let me down, like not reply, not do anything. I know that's a bit of a negative Nancy, but Nancy, so if I can expect the least, I can get, and they can give me more, then actually that's
So just to wrap it up, I'm talking too much. It's just to say that you might decide to apologize to your friends if you thought you were really mean to them, but please don't apologize for how you were. Yeah. Just let them know that, listen, that wasn't me. I was grieving, and that was the best way I knew how.
Yeah, so my last friend did that this year. And
you did that?
I just got, at first, like, my mom was like, send a nice birthday message, send her. And then I just knew for myself too. My also, like, kind of weapon of helping out was I'll block people on social, on WhatsApp, just that I don't react again, or I don't send a horrible text, or haven't drunk too much because I'm feeling like shit, like horrible.
Yeah.
And then I'm like reactive because I'm drunk and I was like, oh, remember that person said that, remember that person, all the keynotes popped through and I was like, oh, I should reply. Oh, I have some great thoughts. And I did write to them, and then someone just wrote back to me like a really like, you can say kind of a bitchy message back, be like, I don't think you've changed. I don't think you're anything like that in life. When I knew you from TV and then we became friends, you're that dramatic person. And I was like, that's two different people.
Yeah.
TV Callum, you don't want to be friends with him. Normal Callum, he's really nice. Hence why I don't get hard on TV.
Yeah.
And I just was like, so for her, I just thought, in the long run, now I'm invited to a wedding next year in South Africa. She's from London. I'm here in London. We also live Southwest, so I could bump into her as well.
Yeah.
I just think I'm finally at the stage with her that I'm not angry at her anymore as well.
Yeah.
I'm not angry of her decision to stop being my friend. And I think I also was nervous, be like, should I be going to this wedding because there's somebody that has let me down because I was grieving?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I have zero anything with her connection. Like, I can be nice and be kind. And I'm saying like you too, like, I don't want to be upset. I don't be angry with people.
Yeah.
My best friend, that story is another story. And I think even going to Cape Town a few times, knowing she also leaves London, I was like, she could be on the same flight as me, whatever. How would I deal with it? I probably wouldn't have dealt with it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for 12 hours, it'll be terrible. Flight. But I think grief does shift people out.
Oh, yeah.
And it shifts sometimes those potential baddies or people that that season had ended with that friendship out. And like you said, like it's really like farming. You farm out some and you like do the crops, and then your crops regrow a year later, and that could be the best bunch, the best year you have a crop, and that could be the best mates in your life. For
Yeah.
I think my friendship group has definitely done a bit of a farming.
I was going to say, what are your friendship groups now, and how do they kind of support your process of moving?
Like I was saying earlier, I have a lot of friends now, especially in London, that have experienced grief. And I just think it was on the same wavelength.
I tell you, it's like, it's
So much easier. And if
so much easy.
If someone's about to cry, nobody has to say, I'm sorry, I'm about to cry. I'm sorry, apologize.
Sorry, I'm crying. It's like, whatever, I'm crying.
There's always one who doesn't understand it and the eyes start rolling and it's like, oh God, they're going to cry again. Like this third time.
It's so funny you say that. 'Cause, we've got some of the worst things to say to a grieving person. And well, I don't know if they're the worst, but I guess, like you said, everyone takes it differently, don't they? So, well, here are some of them. How are you doing? You'll be okay after a while.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
I understand how you feel. You shouldn't feel that way. Stop crying. At least he's in a better place now. I think that was a bit like, that's a hard one. At least he lived a long life. Many people die young. Aren't you over it yet?
Oh my gosh. Good one.
God is in charge. I think I struggle with the religious ones sometimes. Because I think if you're a religious person, even if you do kind of like, think, God is in charge, you still wonder why he's gone, right? You still have those questions, and you still feel like, why was it taken away from me? Do you see what I mean? So I think...
I was thinking like my mom coming back to London, she'd say to me, like, it would trigger her seeing older couples or couples in their 50s or 60s, her age. And then someone should say, like, even like walk around film, she'll say, oh, why is this old man, like, he looks lonely or looks depressed or something, doesn't, like, the homeless, like, do they really want to be living life? And like, we took my dad, who was a good man. I don't know, that's again, the grieving experience. He's stating it. I think weirdly, I say to my mom, and I don't know how I'd think like that, because I sometimes was a people pleaser. I'd be like, just parrot back. I'd be like, but maybe that man, his family needs him currently, or he's got a child, or I don't know, maybe he's the only a single dad. You never know that situation, and that's why it's a religious perspective. That's in my head. I'd say that's probably why God hasn't ended his path or ended. That would probably be from a religious perspective. I also think, but it is a bit of a weird question.
You sound like not that you weren't Dansworth or with reality before, but you sound like since your dad passed, you're very you think like I think Ella has said, you think before you speak now, but you're very conscious about how other people are, their thought processes and how they might feel about certain.
And definitely, I had to, like you said earlier about putting the man as well. I've definitely grown up. You know what I mean? Like, I think I also moved away from home. I'm abroad. I thought I was like a student abroad for like 10 years or 7 years or 8 years. So I think when Dad passed, I was just like, oh my God, this is not a party anymore. Like now I have to be of that. I was a boy. And yeah.
Your dad's day, like, Dad's got me.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
to do what
I'm doing contract work. I have no job. I can call Dad and say, can you pay the rent?
Yeah.
Or like, Dad, I can't afford to come back for Christmas. Like little, like, that's weird. Like,
he was like your back.
playing on those strings. Like, can't afford Christmas. And then ping, the flights arrived. That was like, can't afford tickets. Ping, credit card. So
That's like reality.
yeah, I was like, Callum, you can't go on holiday every month. Even though Ryanair has 10-pound flights, you can't
like,
do the job.
Yeah.
Be a man. Like,
Fair.
yeah.
You can't tell me to get over it. Like, I lost my mom. Don't tell me to get over it. Even if it's 50 years.
A lot of people who come across people who are recently bereaved actually don't know what to say.
I have been much more comfortable to cry, let my emotions out. I think I do have some good friends here that
Yeah.
do understand.